How's it, everybody? We are the Joy Schtick Show. Your three favorite friends from Hawaii are back to talk story about the latest things we've read, watched, or played. We'll share our shtick with you, so thanks for sticking around. If you fancy what you hear, please like and subscribe on the platform you frequent. I'm your co-host, Drake. That's Thomas.
Drake's a scroll. He has no arms. What's up? What's up?
And that's Scott.
How's it?
I thought you were gonna.
What was that?
I thought you were gonna say something.
Me or Drake?
You're just like
I found a scroll. I can't acknowledge that I don't have
everybody,
arms.
watch us on YouTube.
Hey,
I was gonna say something that he started moving, and I was like, "Oh, I'll let him finish his jiggity jig."
Yeah, I thought your words were gonna come out. But
yeah,
they
I was
didn't.
doing my nonverbals. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, if you're not following us on YouTube, we've started a YouTube. You can see Drake's non-arms moving in case of the future.
Yeah. And it's weird because
Yeah,
his
he's
shirt
doing it.
is green if you're not watching, but his arms aren't green, and his arms are disappearing, and his shirt is staying on screen. So I don't understand how it's working.
Yeah, reverse green screen
Yeah.
going
My
on.
right arm is a scroll, but the rest of my body is human being. So
Oh, there you go. There you go. Well, we are back. We're back with our new kind of format. Every week, we're going to be doing about 5, max 6 episodes. We're shortening them down. If there's something that you don't hear from us in the future that you think we should be watching or reading or playing and you want us to talk about it, message us on all the socials. We're on Instagram, Twitter, now on Threads, the new Twitter of Instagram. We're on Threads as well, and we're on YouTube.
the Twitter
So
of
it's all
Instagram.
there. That's right. So, yeah. Also, we're not going to be talking about Indiana Jones 5 tonight. None of us have watched it yet.
No.
I believe we're planning to hopefully some point before next week, and then we'll review it then. But as right now, none of us have watched it. And yeah, I don't know. Any thoughts on that?
We just get into ChatGPT and ask it to review it for us real quick.
It only goes back to 2021.
Oh, dang
So, yeah, you can ask it about Crystal Skulls.
predictions.
Dang it.
Predictions, yeah.
Predictions.
Definitely. Our first bit of news, we have Superman and Lois casting.
Ooh.
Scott, take it away.
Superman and Lois casting. So we have the casting for the Superman and Lois. So we have David Coren Sweat as Superman.
Yes.
And Rachel Brosnahan, I hope I'm not butchering these names, as Lois. Both very great actors and both very difficult names for me to say. Not their
Yeah.
problem, it's my problem. I got to get over it.
Yeah.
But they're both really good actors, and I think I'm happy about it. He's supposed to be a young Superman, and he looks like he could do that well. So until I see more, like a trailer, or teaser, or whatnot, I can't really say anything other than I'm looking forward to seeing what they do.
Totally.
Yeah.
I like this fact. They are the greatest height distance, or yeah, I think that makes sense, between Superman and Lois ever. So he's 6'4", I want to say, or 6'5", and she's 5'3".
So he's dunking on her all day.
All day.
All
Yeah.
She got
day.
a chance.
No, she's going to get
Yeah.
swatted.
Absolutely. So yeah,
That's
it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, has that never happened before? Where Lois is, because even in the DC animated universe, Lois is always like at least a head shorter than Superman.
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to look weird. Hopefully not. I don't know. They're going to figure it out. I'm sure if they can make
Tom Cruise giant.
Why this guy?
What was
Yeah, Tom
Kristen
Cruise
Crook
giant
and in the original Smallville? Was their height distance crazy too? We'd have to Google that. I
Yeah,
think.
that guy was tall. I don't remember what his name is either, but he was pretty tall. And I
Brandon
think she was pretty
Routh?
short.
Is that his name?
Brandon Routh was the other one before Henry Cavill, and he was only in one movie.
Oh, interesting.
And then he came back for, yeah. So I don't know. Interesting. We're getting way too off topic about their height.
Oh, sorry.
But
We need to find out.
yeah, I don't know if that matters nearly as much as can he play Superman? Can she play Lois Lane? And I love Marvelous Miss Maisel. If you have not gone back and watched the final season, it is so damn good. Like, she's phenomenal in it. I watched a little bit of Hollywood that Christina was watching it, and David Cornsweet was in there, and he's really good. Like, he has this classic American look and sound to him. So I think he's going to be good. I don't know though. Like, I don't take him super seriously yet, and maybe that's okay. because I don't know, but I'd like to see him suited up, and after he's been working out for 6 months and in the suit, I think he has a little bit more to prove to me as an actor than she does, but I've never really thought of her as like Lois Lane. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting dynamic, but I do love her as an actress. So it's kind of cool. I don't know. What do you guys think about them as far as like how they look with the character?
I feel like Bronze Sweat definitely has that like
Did you just combine both their names?
Yeah, you might
David
as well.
Cord Sweat and
Bronze Sweat, dude.
I thought it was a mistake, but never mind.
I see. Okay, that was purposeful.
Hey,
Bronze Sweat.
I like it.
Well, in that, David kind of has that like I kind of hope he reprises that mustache a little bit. He looks so defined, like you said, Tom. A great like OG American style.
So they can edit it out in the movie.
Yeah, but
just like the Justice League.
Yeah. But he's got a great jawline. I think he's Henry Cavill reminiscent, so I think that's not too far off. Obviously, I mean, this could be a breakout role for him in terms of being able to show off his acting chops and working alongside Rachel. Rachel has so much, I think, clout from Marvelous Miss Maisel. So I think maybe they just end up doing a great job, just like how we've seen some of the newer characters in the Disney Plus Marvel series kind of breakout stars. Maybe this is their time to shine.
Yeah, and I got a lot of faith in James Gunn. So especially like he's got so much involvement in this project. Like I'm trusting that he feels that they are the two best people to lead it. So
yeah,
we'll see though.
I think so. Yeah, he has that look. He definitely has like the endearing, you want to root for him, classic American boy look. So yeah, I think it'll be good. Time will tell, but happy that we got our Superman Lois. Now we just need to see who Lex Luthor is, and who knows? But I think he's going to do a great job.
Yeah.
Drake, you sent something over to us this weekend, and it came out of the Anime Expo in Anaheim, and it's pretty dope. It's kind of mixing two things that I think really like, and it's called Suicide Squad Isekai. And it basically, I guess Isekai stands for like other world, but basically it's a Suicide Squad anime. It looks dope.
Super dope.
What did you think of it?
I mean, we've only seen, I think, like a Batman Samurai situation in anime type versions. I know we've seen a lot of Marvel in anime, but I think this genre splitting really hits hard. And what I mean by that is you get all the nostalgia of like watching your old school animes, but then you have the kind of like the Americanized characters that we have grown to know and love. Like I would love to see Japanese animation for something like Avatar, right? But sticking to the DC situation, DC's animated situation has always been super fantastic. And to add, I think this style of art is going to bring it even further. Hopefully it doesn't take too much away from the DC MU that hopefully James Gunn can reinvigorate. But I think in terms of the story play, Suicide Squad was a really great starting point, just because you're not starting with characters that we've seen consistently. The Suicide Squad, even though they have had tons of games and movies redone, they're a bunch of characters that you can love. And also, too, what they get to do is not necessarily superhero-esque, right? So it can be down, dirty, and gritty. And I think anime really gets down with that. But
dirty, and gritty.
Yeah. What did you guys think about it?
Yeah. Put that on a headline, man. Down, dirty, and gritty. Yeah, I agree. I agree on a lot what you said. Like it looks like it's going to be crazy. And as we know, like some anime like Chainsaw Man, like you take all the violence and the blood and like the creepiness and craziness of Chainsaw Man and you bring like the Suicide Squad in, like that's going to be sick. Yeah. I think also the director was saying that it was really weird. He had this interesting way of describing Harley Quinn, and he was like, I really wanted her to like be really cute. And I think the modeling is there, but she's also like, she looks pretty unhinged in this as well. Yeah. And I like that. Yeah. What about you, Scott?
Yeah. I mean, I think it looks really cool. I'm definitely always down for anything in anime format. I feel like we get a lot more detail in fighting scenes, especially. I really do like the DC movies and Marvel movies, but when they are like, I don't know if they're like made in America or like whoever they send them to, when it's not like Japanese animation, like their animation is like to such a high level now. It's like when you watch anything else, you can kind of just, it's like watching like an old Pixar movie. Like it just looks dated. Like the technology and skill is not there yet. And Japan's like right, top of the line. So I'm definitely down for that. And, if it's anything like even like Cyberpunk or anything like that was amazing as well. So
would you
definitely real quick, this was also made by a studio that also did Spy Family. So if you like the animation in Spy Family, you're going to dig this. Yeah. Sorry, Drake.
No. I was going to say, so imagine that like these graphic novels, mega giants like Marvel and DC did, I wouldn't say one-offs, but limited runs of animes, not only just in their comic books, but also in their movies. I just feel like there's a market there for collectors, for hardcore DC/anime fans, or Marvel fans, comic book fans as a whole, to kind of have these genres kind of come together and create an amalgamation that not only that can you enjoy, but then you can have like a piece of history from, especially if they start using iconic anime, either directors or illustrators, et cetera, et cetera. Like, would you buy into those as a collector, as a lover of graphic novels?
Fuck yeah.
Okay.
And like, it's with all of what's going on in DC and Marvel of multiverse, there's no reason why they can't do anime versions of them.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason. Well, we even got to see it in Across the Spider-Verse. There was an anime or like the Japanese Spider-Man that was in it. So it's like, why can't, of course they could do that. Like, totally. I mean, isekai literally means like other world. So like we can bring, and I think the story of how this anime is going to go is bringing the Suicide Squad into this world, the isekai world. And it's like, we could do that for Marvel. Like they should totally, it should have been what If was. I didn't care for What If, but I think if it was more like that, I would have dug it more, where you're like, this is just way out of there. And like the animation, I couldn't tell if it was supposed to be for kids, and there's Pixar, but then there's zombies and people are getting eaten. It just like, I couldn't gel it together. It just didn't work for me. But in anime form, hell yeah, bring that on.
Yeah. Agreed.
Okay, well, somebody who's listening, pick that shit up, make a ton of money, and then hashtag, isn't it?
Hey, perfect. I'll take it.
I got it from here. All right, we're moving right along. Let's get into some reviews. And Drake, you got to see Jennifer Lawrence's new movie, which is a little bit of a departure from what she normally does. Yeah. The movie's called No Hard Feelings. Why don't you tell us about it?
First and foremost, Jennifer Lawrence, right? Obviously, we've all seen her in certain things. I just want to start off by saying that No Hard Feelings was extremely, for me, reminiscent of The Girl Next Door with Alicia Cuthbert. Kind of the same sort of, young kid trying to come into his own. And then you have this kind of more seasoned female protagonist who's kind of in a world of their own, and they've got kind of their own situation going on, but they're coming together to kind of help each other grow as human beings. No Hard Feelings is less the romantic, I guess, coming together of like relationship physically, as much as it is as the actual title of No Hard Feelings being it's more so on a friend basis, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So less like Stifler's mom and more like, becoming friends.
Yeah, like it's atypical in the sense that, you would assume that they would just like hook up and then they, have a long living relationship where they're like, dating each other, and that's not necessarily the case here, which was a nice departure. But at the same point in time, when you look into the movie in itself, there's tons of just straight up cringy moments, because you essentially have this older woman, Jennifer Lawrence, who is trying to
old hag.
Yeah, she's like, what is she, like 58 now?
She's younger than us.
She's probably younger than us.
30
It's real.
Yeah, she's super. And so this newer actor, and Andrew, I believe his name is Andrew Barth Feldman.
Andrew Barth.
It's kind of like that young, enclosed, like teen character. He's getting up into his 1920s. He's going off to college, and she's essentially trying to court him because she needs a vehicle because she lost her vehicle, and the parents are trying to essentially sell their son's, not virginity, but like pushing him out of his boundary and out of his comfort zone, so that Jennifer Lawrence steps into that role so that she can get that car, right? And then all the shenanigans kind of go on, and she's really trying hard to essentially just fuck this kid. And she's noticing how that action is not the person that she is, because how he's reacting is like genuine. Like, you know, I want to take you out on a date, or let's have a conversation, or I want to get to know you, et cetera, et cetera. So that was a very interesting departure from, I guess, the typical kind of shows or movies that we do see. But some of the cringy moments were just thirst trapping as hard as she can for this young, you know, nerdy dude that's supposed to be going to Princeton. Also,
is it funny though?
Yeah,
like when you're talking cringy, is it like, yeah, like you're like, oh, haha, are you like, like, yeah, I don't know.
Some of the cringy parts were like, gosh darn, like if this was happening to me, I definitely wouldn't like it. At other points in time, very, very funny.
Okay.
But the tropes are we've seen all the tropes already, right? Like accidentally getting hit when you didn't expect to, or, you know, taking drugs when you shouldn't have, and it kind of, you know, chaos ensues. You know, finding out what the behind story was to why we're having these interactions, and was anything real. Like those things were familiar tropes that we've continued to see. The ending obviously was a stray from that. I will say, if you have like a moment, definitely give it a watch. I mean, full frontal nudity is what I can say. And you haven't seen that since Red Sparrow, right?
What do you grade it?
Talking about Jennifer Lawrence, right?
Jennifer Lawrence, right? Not the movie, right?
Not the movie.
No,
like
no. Her, she got nude.
I actually meant the movey, but
yeah. I would
give us give us a grade on the full frontal. Why not?
Full frontal. I give it 2 C's. Hey-o.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
But that also too was like a stray from, because it wasn't like a sexy, right? It was, in that situation, it wasn't meant to be sexy. It was meant to be raw. And that was interesting to see, because, you know, in all the other ideas of kind of nudity within movies, it's always about like being revealed or being vulnerable, or
and like enticing,
in a sexual way. But this was just a moment of nudity that was outside of that norm. So that was interesting. So there's a lot of tropes that are broken. There's a lot of tropes that continue to go. I don't think it's like changing the movies, you know, diaspora, but it is one of the highest grossing R-rated movies R-rated comedies that Jennifer Lawrence has been in. So
nice. I don't know what other R-rated comedies she's been in, but
I want to say Silver Linings Playbook.
Does that count as a comedy? Maybe.
I want to dramedy. I know Winter's Bone was a comedy, right?
So funny, that movie. Check it out if you haven't, guys. Go rent it. Just joking. It's a drama. It's heavy. How do you rate this? And like, do you think it's a good addition to like bringing R-rated comedies back, like into theaters? Like, you know, is it
like the Machine did? Oh yeah,
man. I don't know that I would have gone to watch this in the movie theater. And it's because I don't necessarily view Jennifer Lawrence as like a draw anymore, and also too,
damn, hot take.
Yeah, and you know, a newer Andrew Barth Feldman. I mean, this is supposed to be an American quote unquote sex comedy by Gene Stupinski. But I mean, when you think about the other quote unquote sex comedies that we have, like Sex Drive or Euro Trip or whatever, like those were very like 90s, early 2000s.
I think if She's Out of Your League.
Yeah, like those were in that time, like in its prime. Now it's kind of antiquated. To see it kind of brought up in this way is interesting, but it not game changing. I don't think it is the genre, but it's not so much so where it's not a cult classic for me, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay.
Fair enough. No hard feelings.
Mhm.
Yeah. Overall letter grade for it, though, would you say 2 C's?
I would say 2 C's.
All right.
53.2 million at the box office.
Wow.
Yeah.
Not bad. Almost
good.
as much as Indiana Jones,
Yeah.
which is crazy.
I mean, you got a good cast. Matthew Broderick is in it.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
Matthew Broderick in it? Well, lead with that next time.
Hassan Minaj is in it.
Yeah.
Also, the
Yeah,
dude from
Oh,
the
that's
Bear,
awesome.
Ibn Mas Bakrak.
Oh yeah. He's in that as well too.
He's the one who plays the cousin in the Bear, and he's also in Andor. That guy.
Damn.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
Yeah,
He's
Kyle
good,
Mooney's
really.
in it too. That was kind of a weird one, but
Oh, really?
yeah. It was seeing him in there kind of threw it off a little bit because it kind of whenever you see an SNL,
You're like, oh, that's Kyle Mooney.
yeah, you think, oh, is this an SNL comedy? So I kind of threw it off a little bit, but it was fine. It worked well.
Gotcha.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right on.
Nailed it.
All right, switching gears. We got The Bear season 2.
Bear.
Oh, my God. This movie for me,
It was like-
show.
Whoa.
Only 2 episodes.
It was
in,
like
so
a
no
movie, 'cause
spoilers.
I
Better as a
sold
series
it.
though, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, no spoilers. No spoilers on this one. Scott
Yeah.
hasn't watched it. Drake, you haven't watched it. For me, I'm going to say top 3 show of the year. It's I don't know if it's first or third, but it's a top 3 for me. I love this show so damn much. The acting, the writing, the pacing, the tension, everything about this show is so damn good. I love it. I love season 1. And I know Drake, coming from a culinary background, it could be a little tense, you know. I've talked to somebody at a 4th of July party yesterday and they were like, yeah, it's a little bit too triggering for me as a chef. I'm like, I got it. And I could see that because the tension's in there, like a spy drama, like I don't know, like a Mission Impossible or something crazy. Like you feel like the walls are closing in around you. But man, is it so good. And the way they kind of work through their issues, and it just goes in this crazy direction. And the penultimate episode makes you feel like things are all going to be good. And then it may or may not be as good as you think in the last episode. And
That's interesting.
yeah.
Just based on what you said there, because I only saw the first 2 episodes.
So you want me to
and-
spoil it? You're saying spoil it?
they
I'll
all
spoil
die?
it. I'll
Okay,
just
cool.
say everything
Awesome.
right now. Yeah.
Okay, moving on. No, based on like the ending of the first season, you're like, holy crap! Like, yes, it ends on such a high note. They take that same ending and they start the new season with that. All of a sudden, it means not as good. Like, it's funny how they took that same thing and you're like, wow, all the anxiety's back. Nothing changed, although everything seemed like it changed. And I'm like, fuck, they did it again. Like, I'm right back in it. Like, they do such a good job of spinning it. Like, you know, like that. Because if you watch the season finale, they get a bunch of money and it starts with, we need more money. Like, it's like,
Yes.
you think they're out of the hole and then you're like, we're in a fucking big hole. And you're just like, fuck.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing can go their way, it seems. But it's locked me in again. So I can't wait to finish this season.
Totally. Yeah. You're like, how could they take that super high where they finished season 1? How do they turn that into a whole new season? And you're like, oh, wait, that wasn't as important or as bright as I thought it was.
Yeah.
Like there's still a bunch of shit that could go wrong. And then it does. And then you start realizing, yeah, like some of these issues, like we couldn't show you all of what these people have to go through in one season.
Yeah.
Like it's so grounded in that way. Like, like we could go to therapy, we work on ourselves, we could do all these things, but it doesn't mean we're going to be a different person overnight.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean cousin's going to be different. Doesn't mean, all of a sudden the cooks who are in the kitchen, all of a sudden are top level chefs, and Drake, to your point of, we were talking offline about like, if you look at a restaurant as purely a source of money, that may not be the best way to go about it. There's probably better ways to go about making money. And I think this does an amazing job of showing you that no, it's not the best way to make money. But if that's what you do and that's what you're good at and that's what you dedicated your life to, yeah, maybe you have to drive towards it. Even if life is falling down around you, you still may have to go towards that.
Right.
It's crazy. It's good. Yeah, it's really good. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I could say anything else besides that. Otherwise I'm going to spoil a lot, but there's some funny moments in it. I'm like, Beef's up there. The Bear season 2, and I gotta think one other show is definitely up there for me, but it's kind of knocked into that top 3, and it's gonna be hard for another show this year to dethrone it. So I'll just leave it at that.
I know we're gonna get into something that's very similar to this, but if you could have a similar show to The Bear, whether or not it's drama or comedy or whatever, what other profession would you like to see intimated?
I think this should be the hypothetical of the week. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, let's make this.
So let's just go. Yeah, this is now the hypothetical of the week. We also, I'm guessing, we'll revisit The Bear, next week or a few other weeks from now, and kind of talk full spoilers on it. But that's a good question, because what I like about The Bear is it's pretty, until I lived with you, Drake, for a little bit, until I saw what your profession was about, I didn't quite get how tough it could be. And I didn't quite understand how stressful, and you would tell me some things work and you're like, yeah, and at that time I was flying planes and I'm like, yeah, maybe not the same. But after seeing this and like matching it with what you used to tell me, I'm like, oh, I get it. That's stressful. That's nerve wracking. The only thing I can compare it to, maybe, again, yeah, like flying planes is his own thing, but it's like, remember ER? Remember how ER at the time like seemed so stressful, and like it had that drama, and like, every week was a new problem and a new thing to figure out, and then you have the personalities in it all. Like, I'm trying to think of a job like that. So if you guys have any thoughts, take it away while I think about it.
That's the first thing I was thinking of, because I work at a hospital. Like, well, we have a lot of those kind of shows too. Like, there's ones that are like, it's super fun, like Scrubs. It's a good time. And then there's ones that are like super out there, like, oh my God, like he has a super rare condition. House is like, I got it by the end of the hour, but we have like a huge range of that. But working in a hospital, I can honestly say, like, there are moments where it's so stressful. So it's hard for me to think of something else at the moment. But like you're saying with the, anything you watch on food that isn't The Bear, it's always like glamorized. Like, you're like, oh, just come to, oh, this guy's so good at making this pizza, or oh, this guy, and it just seems like, wow, they followed their dream and they opened a restaurant and it worked out for them. Like, they never show like the shit they go through. Maybe they're not making any money. Maybe they have a star, but they like live in like a studio apartment and are barely making rent. Like, so this show does a really good job of that. I'm trying to imagine another job that is maybe glamorized on like in shows. That is actually like really not the case in reality.
I got one.
What's that?
Wait, before I go, Drake, do you have one?
Yeah.
Since you posed the question, nail it.
So I've always wanted to write, or at least like get into having a not dramedy, but like a comedy-esque about,
you son of a bitch,
dentistry.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Wow, that was a total French tilt.
Curveball there.
Okay, so think about this, right?
Thomas over here crossing out his thing he wrote down.
Yeah, I was like, I better think of something else. Okay, because I was going to literally say a rise of a comedian. So anyway, sorry.
Okay.
So when you were going there, I was like, whoa, we were on the same wavelength. Tell me about dentistry.
Okay, so think about this. Whenever you go to the dentist, right, what happens? You wait in the waiting room. There's a bunch of different styles of people, kids, adults, old people. And then you have the people who are working the front desk who are always kind of cheery, but there's always that one person who's kind of like gritty and like doesn't want to be there because maybe they didn't have their coffee. And then you have the different styles of dentists, the kind of cool laid back one, the one that's super about like, why aren't you flossing? And the one who's always trying to upsell you on some dental shit. And then there was this one moment at the dentist a while ago where I thought this would be so fucking hilarious, where they're flossing your teeth, right? And they're telling you how important it is. And you're thinking in your brain like, wow, they're barely getting in that situation. They're just kind of putting it in, taking it out. And all the while they're asking you questions and you're trying to answer it. And you're like, oh, and they kind of like are continuing that conversation because they kind of are making out what you're saying, but not really. And then you're starting to build bonds with them. And so kind of like a Cheers vibe, right? Where you have the mainstay of characters that work there, the one consistent person who's always fucking up their teeth, right? And always there. And then you have kind of the individuals who are coming back time after time. And imagine now if those are cameos from other bigger actors like a Brad
Yeah, or
Pitt or
comedians.
Angelina Jolie, comedians, et cetera, et cetera. Like, I think that would be really hilarious because dentistry is kind of it's a healthcare thing, but not really.
Everybody needs it. Everybody goes to it.
Yep.
Yeah, everybody has a bad dentist story.
They're not doctors.
I like it. They're not doctors.
But also what's interesting is like they have a high suicide rate. So there's like
okay, that should be funny, but it wasn't again.
So it's a comedy, and then it's like, you hear about Harold?
Yeah.
And then and then it goes on a dark turn. Then it's like the bear, where it keeps.
Yeah.
There you go.
At corner dentistry, that guy's gone.
The whole corner. Fucking but but I heard from a coworker at the hospital, they're saying like she actually brought that up. She's like, yeah, man, they have like a high suicide rate, but she's like, but they throw like the best parties. I guess because they're always stressed out, so when they let loose, they fucking let loose. Which is kind of interesting too. So that could be in the show too. Maybe like dentist parties are like bigger ragers.
If any dentists or dental assistants are listening to this episode, holler at us. We want to come to your Christmas party.
Yeah,
like we want to come and just hang out and hear the dirty deets, and then we'll turn it into a show.
We know there won't be candy, but we hope there will be.
Yeah,
it'll be sugar free.
Oh dang, aspartame.
I like it. Yeah, I don't think I could top it. Mine was just going to be, obviously if it's a story about a comedian and I want to see the rise of a famous comedian. Like we've seen shows about like the rise and fall or somebody who was at the top and they fell and they try to rise again. But I want to see someone who's like young, definitely funny, maybe like a young actor, and they're trying to get to be, one of the biggest comedians in the world. And we slowly see them sleeping on couches, taking any gig they can, eating ramen, barely scraping by, and then they're practicing new jokes.
Like the clubs, the little shit clubs they're playing at.
Yeah. Trying new jokes. Nobody laughs. Like, I want to see that kind of stuff. And then it keeps going. Like, you kind of get in Hacks, but she's already a star. And then she falls. And then she, rises again. But, I want to see someone who's, they've never done it before, but they struggle bus. And they know this is their dream. I guess the bear is he's at the top, and then he has to come back down. But anyways, I want to see it from the bottom, working his way up to the top. And then maybe at, season 2 or 3, they fall from the top somehow. Maybe they get addicted to drugs or whatever. They have to come home and take care of a parent. I don't know. And then they have to build it back up once that happens. So that's the show I want to see.
That is something that I like hearing in comedy podcasts, like when they start reminiscing on the beginning times, or even that, like you're saying, out of nowhere you'll hear about a comedian you followed for a long time. They're like, yeah, I've been taking care of my sick mother for 10 years or something. You're like, whoa, you've been your job is to be happy and make people laugh, but you're also dealing with this really stressful thing outside of doing that. That's got to be insane. I think the only thing I can think of is people following their artistic dreams, I guess, like that. Maybe in the same regard, like a musician or something. And it'd be a really similar story.
Totally. But in a way, the bear has a lot of that artistry in it. So it's so good. I want all these shows we made. I definitely want to see a show in a dentist's office now. I think you sold me on that. That actually sounds pretty funny. And it's just entertaining. Why has that not been done? I feel like everybody can relate to it. It's like a show that takes place in a DMV. DMV suck. Everybody hates the DMV, but you got to do it. Oh man, I think those things would work in the right hands with the right writing team. Pay your writers, WGA. I think you would. We'd get some great stuff out of it.
I agree.
All right. Nice. I like it. A little impromptu hypothetical of the week. Definitely not what we had planned, but you know what? It worked for next week. And you'll have to tune in next week if you want to hear what that hypothetical is about. So we're moving on to another review. Scott, you watched something that just came out on Netflix, and I really dug this. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah. So it's an animated feature, PG, on Netflix. It just came out. It's called Nimona, and it focuses on this shapeshifter character named Nimona, and she's basically like Beast Boy. But can also transform into Beast Boy and Mystique in one almost if you can think
totally.
And she can change on a whim. The art style is really cool. It's kind of cel shaded, and it's got that 3D blend. So I feel like that's they're able to do more with the money. I feel like because it doesn't need to look like as detailed as it needs to with the cell shading, but they can still do a lot with it. It came out looking really nice.
I thought there was a lot of similarities when you get to the Across the Spider-Verse world, the Miguel world. It kind of had a little bit of that feel to it.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah.
Like the animation is just beautiful.
Yeah, really beautiful. And the story itself is great too. Like going into it based on the trailer, I thought I kind of predicted what. Yeah, I was like, this is going to be like one of these tropes of this and that. But it was like an interesting. You're following this guy who came from nothing, got a chance to kind of be trained up to maybe be a knight one day, but he's not of royal blood, and he's the only dude that's been accepted to this, and this is going to be a big thing. Like if he gets knighted, then that means like people who aren't, who are outside of like the upper class can become, can join that upper class and all that stuff. So
I'm guessing spoiler alert.
Yeah, so spoiler alert because. I mean, it's kind of the whole movie, right?
Tune away now. Skip ahead like 15 minutes if you want to hear Secret Invasion.
Yep. Here we go. So what happens is this character is about to be knighted, and he gets knighted, and then something's wrong with his sword. It ends up killing the queen, and then everyone's like, "This motherfucker, like he killed the queen, like fuck him."
He killed the queen.
So everyone's after him, and then this Nimona character. Sees this. What is it? There's like a time skip, right? Like 10 years.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't even know that.
I think there was
because he gets his arm cut off to disarm him or whatever. I didn't catch the time skip, but some amount of time because he's able to make like a Luke Skywalker arm.
Yeah, he like builds his own
like a mechanical arm,
which was pretty cool. And then this character Nimona finds him, and she's basically like, I want to be your sidekick, and I know what you want to do. You want to get revenge, and I'm going to help you do that. So this is my plan. She drew pictures of her as like different animals, like killing people and like blood and stuff. She's like, I can transfer this. We're going to kill everyone. It's going to be great.
Something, and then it works.
Yeah. She's like, which is really fun. Like she's like this little full of energy type of fierce character. You find out and
like a punk rock chick too. She's like
so metal,
so metal.
Which is like not what I expected when I saw the trailer. I thought I don't know. I thought she'd just be like the more cutesy. I can transform and whatnot, but
totally.
She was actually
I didn't expect her to be so dark.
Yeah, she was the driving factor. She's like kind of. He like gets himself into a situation by doing the right thing, and then like he gets locked up for it, and then she's like, "I'm here to break you out. Let's do this," and then like causes a whole bunch of ruckus, but they get out. And she's like, "I saved you," and everything's blown up. Like it's like a lot of that stuff. But then they form a bond, and I don't want to ruin too much of it, I guess. But I'd say like this movie like, really surprised me, and it was a lot better than I was already looking forward to, but it was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Like just because it was original. I'd say I couldn't totally predict everything that was going to happen, which was really nice. So,
yeah, definitely super original story. I like they have this mix of like medieval times and then future city.
Yes.
So like people have iPads and like flying cars or like electric cars, but then they fight with swords and like crossbows. And then like the whole idea and the principle of having a knight to protect them from the monsters is very much there, and the honor, and it's about our roles. Like, so all of that's there, but like with modern technology in a way.
Yeah.
It's really cool how they blended it together. And we've been seeing a lot of success in animation with sequels, especially like Across the Spider-Verse, but this was so original. It was so well done, so well voice acted, and it was just like funny. Like I literally like laughed out loud a few times. I'm like, God damn, like I did not expect it to be this funny. Yeah. Like she's just crazy, she's like, we could kill them all. And he's like, whoa. Cause he's a knight, he's about the honor and protecting the kingdom and upholding the right things. And she just comes in there like a demon. And the friendship is unlikely. He doesn't want to do the wrong thing, but he slowly starts seeing her way, and he stops seeing her as a monster, and she starts seeing like somebody else could actually care about her as a monster, if you will.
And it's slowly kind of revealing like like how did she become the thing she is, or like what is her thing, like what made her get on this path. And then there's points in it where you think it's going to be revealed, and then they whatever, but it's yeah, it's just a really good story. Like,
Good story.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, Chloe Grace Moretz plays Nimona. Riz Ahmed, who I love. I always love Riz Ahmed because of The Sound of Metal, and also Rogue One. He plays like the main knight in it, and Chloe Grace Moretz does like an amazing job. I was like, who played Nimona?
Yeah.
And yeah, Chloe Grace Moretz I was not a fan of her when she was younger. And like I didn't care for her acting. In the last couple of things I've seen her in, like she's killed it. Whether it was The Peripheral or this, she's been crushing it.
Kick-Ass.
And yeah. Kick-Ass. That's true. She was awesome in Kick-Ass. I stand corrected, but
Poker House.
Awesome cast. Really, what was it?
So The Poker House was a movie that she did with Jennifer Lawrence, and she was young at the point in time.
Was it
We're
good?
back on Jennifer Lawrence, huh?
Yeah, we're back on Jennifer Lawrence. No, but it's a good movie. It's a good movie. So essentially,
Yeah. I believe you.
yeah, just watch. Yeah, watch it. There you go.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay.
Wait, speaking of SNL though, Beck Bennett is in this Drake, and he plays a side character, and that character is actually pretty hilarious.
Oh, hilarious!
He's you know what character that is, Tom? He's the dude that's like, he's like, oh, you thought I was gonna be nice to you? He's like, you hear that, everyone? This guy thought I was gonna be nice to him.
Yeah,
like, and then throughout the thing, it's like he's kind of that cliche douchebag, but then the lines are actually kind of funny. Like,
yeah, he kills it. I feel like Beck Bennett.
I could see him like going in, maybe rewriting things, or like it's felt like his
do you
voice.
mind if I try this?
Yeah. So it was pretty hilarious.
Oh, a lot of the voice actors in it felt like their voice. So it was like, that was cool. I mean, same thing with Across the Spider-Verse too. Like I keep comparing them because, I want to put this up at a higher level so people take this movie seriously too. You know what I mean? Like, and I was a little skeptical, and about half an hour in, I was like, I'm just going to put it on. And I was like, no. And then I slowly stopped like looking at my phone, stopped doing things around the house, and was just watching Nimona. I was like, this is an awesome show. So I can't speak highly enough about it. It was really great. I definitely recommend some people, everybody to watch it.
Yeah.
What about you?
Watch it.
Yeah. You want to give a grade,
and,
Scott?
Watch that Poker House movie.
Yeah.
Poker Face?
Poker Face House.
And No Hard Feelings.
Yeah, I'd say it was like a 8, maybe 8 out of 10. It was like pretty good.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
We're going numbers
8
from
out of
letters
10?
now? Okay, cool.
Oh, we doing letters?
Cool.
Yeah,
We're
do
doing
letters. A,
but
B, C, D, E, or
Yeah,
F?
you give 2 letters.
Yeah, 2 letters.
At 8.
Yeah. Change the 8 into a letter, and then that's
A standing up
That's that
infinity sign.
a B.
Yeah.
But B
Right
sounds
on.
bad.
Okay,
but
we don't. Scott doesn't know grades. All right, let's move on.
5 strawberries.
Oh wow, that's a
Callback.
deep cut. That is a deep
Jinx.
cut. You got to go back to a single-digit episode to understand that reference. All right, we're going to moving on to the finale of the show and the big meat and potatoes. We are talking about Secret Invasion, episodes 1 through 3. We haven't had a chance to talk to it.
Yeah.
What am I trying to say? We haven't had a chance
Give it a letter
to talk
number.
about it. yeah. Infinity upwards. That's just an 8. But we haven't had a chance to talk about it, and we've got a lot to catch up on. Drake, do you want to take it away on what you thought about the first 2 episodes, and then we'll kind of dive into a little bit more on episode 3.
Going into the first episode, I think coming into that AI generated beginning, I know we talked about it a little bit more. I thought more on it as I was watching the first 2 episodes, and I really think it kind of helped set the tone for the series. Not just because of the art, but also because it's AI generated, because it feels other, and that's kind of what Secret Invasion is. I did. In the first couple episodes, you get kind of the Nick Fury back, and you got to get to see like what's happening with the Skrulls and kind of the quote unquote invasion that's happening, and it unravels itself pretty easily. I'd like to see, I think, a little bit more of the emotional depths that Nick Fury had to go through. I think it was episode 1 and 2. You kind of get a nice like appetizer about it, but I feel like it needs to go deeper for me to really like invest. I think viewing Gravik as well, having seen some of his background, and then into episode 2 getting a little bit more of his intentions. I need to see more from him as well too, just because he's kind of a newer character for us in terms of viewership.
And then, I'd say, man, check for episode 3 for you.
Okay, sick. And then more into what is going behind the scenes, where they're trying to take that DNA from more individual, or those different styles of people and animals and things and such, to kind of further along their quote unquote invasion. But I think in terms of Marvel series that we've seen on Disney Plus so far, it's a little bit darker, a little bit more spycrafty, kind of like what we saw with Andor, which I think is on par. Maybe they're going through like a spy renaissance right now. It's a little bit more dark in tones. I mean, we lose characters straight off the bat, like straight up murders in a Disney, series. And I think that I'd like the departure into kind of like that, again, that spycraft, nitty gritty type situation. So from what I've seen in the first 2 episodes, if they're going to hit on that in episode 3, to which we'll touch on right now, then we're
about to touch on it.
Yeah, we're about to touch the tip.
So long.
Or get deep onto the thing. But yeah, hit me with numero tres, so I can kind of get it on it.
Okay. Yeah. That threw me off a little bit.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Spanish.
I was like, is this good Spanish or bad? I don't know.
Wait, before you break down the episode, I do have to say I'm really liking Kingsley Benadier and Van Mendelsohn. Like,
absolutely,
they're like 2 of my favorite people to watch in this show. Like, I was when they first mentioned the cast, I figured Emilia Clarke was going to be like more of a draw for me, but like she's kind of secondary. Right. She's great, but like I'm really like loving seeing these 2 in scenes, and like I'm like, wow, these are great. Of course, Samuel Jackson, but
Yeah, I had a feeling. I know Ben Mendelsohn from obviously a bunch of different things. I mean, he was in Star Wars. He was in The Outsider on HBO, which was a limited series. So damn good. He's like the main actor in it. He's been an actor for a long time, so I knew he was going to be solid. Yeah. And I knew Kingsley Benadier was going to be solid too, because there's this movie called One Night in Miami. It's like a fictional telling of Sam Cooke, Muhammad Ali.
Oh, that's right.
A couple other really prominent, like black, legends. And it was like this fictional story of what happens. They all got stuck in a hotel one night. He
plays Malcolm X, right?
Yeah, and he plays Malcolm X, and he's so damn good at it. I was like, he's going to be awesome. So I knew he had those chops. And man, episode 3 really brought it home for me on Gravik. He's just, what was it? Episode 2 where he was going in and he was just like wiping everybody out in the meat locker.
Yeah.
In like he was a savage in there. I thought that was dope. I hope his character's around a lot longer post this series to see him just like wreak havoc on people. Yeah. Havoc, Gravik. But like, he's
portion of the name.
I was like, oh,
he's
okay.
Like,
then maybe that's
Havoc. I think
all right,
it's a pretty
Shakespeare.
Good name.
It's right there. I didn't come up with that. But he's so damn good. And in episode 3, there's a speech between him and Talos where they go to the museum, and there's a painting, and it's a painting of all these like World War I congressmen or statesmen in the UK. And he's telling Talos, he's like, see these guys? He's like, I don't want to ever be these guys. The fat guys who like sit around and they just smile and they pose for paintings. And he's like, I'm a soldier. Like, I want to pay for history in blood, not in ink and paint, but like in blood every single day. And that line was so sick, so savage. Then they go into the dining hall, and then we get to see the thing from the trailer where Talos grabs him and he stands up, and then everybody around him turns into Gravik. It just works so well. Their back and forth is awesome. I'm loving that. The other one I'm loving is Talos and Nick Fury together.
Yeah.
They just seem like friends that have gone back like through hell together. And they've seen each other at their worst. And if you watch Captain Marvel, you truly see where they start and where they meet each other.
Yeah.
And then and then you fast forward 30 years and it's like, boom, here they are.
Yeah, their
Here, you
chemistry
looking for
is
this?
great.
Just throw a roadie saying in there, but the chemistry's fire.
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, like their little
Yeah, so-
bickering and stuff and back and forth. Like it's, yeah, I'm glad we get to see more of them. Like
Totally. Yeah, so good. I wanted to touch on something you said in the beginning, Drake, on the AI art, because it's something we haven't been able to discuss. And I was going around the internet and people were making such a big deal about it. I'm just curious what your guys' thoughts are about the AI art being used for the intro. Like, Drake, it seems like you didn't really have a problem with it.
I only have a problem with it because we have like a multitude of talented artists, up and coming artists that could have potentially gotten their start or continue their legacy in building, a Secret Invasion intro. At the same point in time, I think that's kind of par for the course, the norm. I didn't have too much of a problem with it just because it was very easy to recognize that this was something that wasn't, for the lack of a better term, natural, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was very atypical. It was very like when you see Nightmare Before Christmas for the first time, and you're like, wow, this is different. That's how I felt when I watched that intro. I was like, this is different. I can see how these lines and these striations are making me feel uncomfortable because it's not the typical illustration I would see, and so it brought me into that mode of secrecy and invasion, right? It made me feel, it made me ready to view what I was viewing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that. I think the only downside to it was that AI made it and no one got paid when they could have got paid for it. But I really did like the constant moving, because they're scrolls, they shapeshift. And I didn't really think about it until Drake was saying like, oh, I get it because it's like, it's otherly, like otherworldly. And I guess in a sense he says, Talos is talking to Nick Fury about like, he's like, every big event that happened, like we had something to do with it. Like you didn't do it. Like the Skrulls did it. And I was like, oh, that's kind of like this. Like it's an intro you'd think people would make, but AI did it. So it's kind of like in that sense, it was like that too. But yeah, I really dug it. It's just unfortunate that, I get it. I only got paid for it, but I really dug it.
So I did pull up an article, and I would just say my first reaction to it was like, oh, this is really cool. And then I saw all they could have hired artists, and like, this is what the Writers Guild is striking for because they don't want AI to take over their jobs.
Right.
Like, I totally get that. And then I like looked into it more because the director said, hey, we did pay a studio to create this with AI art. And then this is a quote from The Verge, which it says, it involved a tremendous effort by talented art directors, animators, proficient in both 2D and 3D, artists and developers who employed conventional techniques to craft all the other aspects of the project. Method Studios said, however, it is crucial to emphasize that while AI components provided optimal results, AI is just one tool among the array of tool sets our artists used. No artist jobs were replaced by incorporating these new tools. Instead, they complemented and assisted our creative teams. So like, I don't know if that's true. And it could just be Method Studios spitting facts, but they've worked on the intros for a bunch of other Marvel projects. And I just wanted to throw that out there because I thought that was interesting. And again, maybe that's false. Maybe they could have hired other artists to do this. But I thought it was interesting, the aspect of like, this is a tool we use and people still had to oversee it, but it wasn't like, it didn't create the whole thing by itself.
Yeah.
So
that helps, I think. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's too little, too late. Like, I think the damage was already done because they didn't. I don't know if they should have got ahead of it or not. But yeah, interesting thing because now we're seeing AI is becoming this discussion, and now it's rolling over into our media, and it's starting to create some of our media, which is interesting. So yeah, I was just curious on your guys' take on that.
I akin it to how. So, for example, I work in essentially like the delivery industry now. And you're seeing a lot of these products wrapped in orange paper, and it's a big thing now called Temu.
T-E-M-U. Emu?
Yeah, it's like an emu, but with a T. And essentially, a lot of these products are like directly sourced from the manufacturer, but the manufacturer in itself is like a different country. and they're inexpensive, and it can be directly gotten to your house, and that's completely fine. But I think it takes away from the idea of the bespoke, the craftsmanship, the industry into which it prefaces, right? So if illustration moving forward is a hard-fought, long-term, skill-based, industry, and then all of a sudden you're having AI, which is basing its availability off of every other illustrator ever, and then amalgamating it into its own quote-unquote singular thing. It's almost to a degree akin to like reducing it to a single word, right? So like a broad stroke, almost like deculturizing the industry of illustration from a certain perspective. I'm not trying to make an argument for whatever, but it is, even though it is an innovation, you can also say that it's a homogenization.
And that was Ethics on AI by Drake.
Yes, 101.
I was like, what? I'm sorry, that was so deep. I almost got lost for a second, but I do agree with you. But that was pretty deep, my man. I like it. Yeah. All right, let's get back to the show itself. And I think that some of the other things that are great is I think that we're getting some of the best world building from a Marvel thing we've seen in a long time. I did not expect there to be 1 million Skrulls on the Earth. And just seeing, we haven't even seen how far they can go. Like, I know one of them's a prime minister, but it's like, how far embedded into every part of the government superhero team are they actually? And do you guys have any theories on who you think is a Skrull?
Oh.
The obvious one out there right now is that Rhodey is. Everybody and their grandma on the internet is saying Rhodey's a Skrull. And I think so. I mean, just the way he was acting.
The way he's talking to Nick Fury, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it was like,
no respect.
And that conversation was so damn good.
Yeah.
But it was also like, why is Rhodey coming at Fury like that? Like,
Right.
Wouldn't Fury know, though, having been around the Skrulls for so long? I would make the argument that he would know.
But has he been around Rhodey so long? And also, when has Rhodey become a Skrull? Like, has Rhodey, since we've known him, has he been a Skrull? And then he would have never known, because he could have been a Skrull the whole time.
How early on did they get him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say Julia Louis-Dreyfus is a Skrull.
All right. Maybe. I think that we could see a version of a Skrull for her, but I don't think that she, as Valentina de Allegra de Fontaine, or however you say it, is a Skrull. And the reason is because at the end of the Secret Invasion comics, Valentina is basically Norman Osborn. And when the Avengers goes down, he steps up and brings the Dark Avengers in. And I think she's going to step up and then bring the Thunderbolts in, which we know we're getting that movie next year. So that's my theory. So I don't know if she's going to be a Skrull, but I guess we could see a version of her as a Skrull. Right. Do you guys have any other theories or thoughts maybe on who else could be? Because when let's see, what was it? Maria Hill got shot. I was like, Skrull, no way that she's gonna die. And then she didn't turn green, and I was like, what?
I was like, whoa.
Yeah, I know.
I was looking forward to see more of her, and like,
Kobe
right.
Smulders.
Dead already, frick.
I know.
Yeah.
It hooked me though. I was like, damn,
my favorite agents already.
And she got killed by her like hero and her, her father figure-esque in a way, not necessarily her father figure, but like her boss who she cared about.
And that's the thing too, like you see that, I'm like, I hope she knows like it wasn't him. Like, even though it's a character, I'm like, no, like, because it looked like she was really
that's
betrayed. Like, oh, this whole time, how could you? I'm like, no,
yeah.
him. And I was like, they fucking got me. Yeah, I don't know. It was interesting when Don Cheadle or James or Rhodes was like mentioning about like, oh, should we call in the team or whatever? And Nick Fury's like, no, because once we get them involved, then they're gonna start like pretending to be superheroes, and we're gonna be led down this one, So then I was just on that path. I was like, oh shoot, like they're trying to nip it in the bud before it gets there.
Mm-hmm.
I was like,
Which is smart.
yeah.
So you don't have to bring in all the different people who can be the actors in the Avengers. Like from a writing standpoint,
From a writing standpoint, it's good.
Like,
and then
it makes sense.
Their standpoint too, right? It's like if they're gonna pretend to be heroes, let's let them do that first. Let's not give them that idea or whatever. They did mention the Super Scrolls, and I'm interested to see how they incorporate that because the comics, Super Scrolls, like they kind of mirror like the Fantastic Four's powers, right? So I'm interested to see what they do with this.
Yeah, I think they did a good job of creating a Super Skrull blueprint of the Fantastic Four without having the Fantastic Four. And so you have Groot, who kind of can stretch like Mr. Fantastic. We've seen Extremis, and he uses it in this, but also like in Iron Man 3, Extremis soldiers are like blown up. They're like explosive, kind of like Johnny Storm. Then we get Cull Obsidian, who Wong cuts off his hand in Infinity War. He's scaly, tough exterior, super strong, like the Thing. And then the oddball is Sue Storm, Invisible Woman. Well, we don't have it, so they did a Frost Beast. Like if you look at the computer in episode 2, and she's looking at all these things, there's Frost Beast on there from Thor: The Dark World at the end.
Oh, I gotta go back and take a better look at that. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So because I was looking to see like, because as soon as I saw on the computer and they were talking about this is the machine that's going to make us super, I was like, what's the basis here? And then I looked at, and the theories are online. He stretches like Groot, much like a Super Skrull from the comics, stretched like Mr. Fantastic. So I really liked what they did because they found things that were in the MCU, like the Fantastic Four, without having the Fantastic Four. Really smart. I thought that was good. Yeah. So agreed with you. I want to see more Olivia Colman. I want Emilia Clarke to have like more. Like right now, she's moving the story along in different ways, but I don't care about her character. Sorry, Drake, spoiler on this one.
Ooh,
but I don't think she's dead.
Oh,
you got to go back to Game of Thrones for that.
Oh yeah, true.
But she gets shot, and it's kind of leading like she died, but I don't think she's dead.
Yeah, because she's so smart. She could just be like, "Oh, I shot. Better transform back into a Skrull. So you think I'm dead." Like,
or even if it like knocks her out enough for her to transform back into a Skrull, it's like
maybe she has
they're not going to kill her off randomly.
Like tooth, she bites on and it's like she knocks out.
Now we're getting into like classic spy stuff.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I want to see.
There you go. She puts on a mustache. Yeah, she
better rock a mustache.
Yeah. She puts on a fedora and a mustache.
Who's this young gentleman? Oh, it's like she could transform, but instead she just puts on a mustache.
Yeah, she jumps on two kids' shoulders under a trench coat. She's good everywhere.
Dude, that's totally the type of Skrull I'd be. I'm like, dude, you could just be the guy. And I'm like, I'm going to be like a not very good version of this guy.
Right. You're like a Little Rascals version?
Yeah. How did you split your body into two bodies? Like two people standing on each other? It's one body.
Yes.
I figured it out.
Yes. You'll figure it out. Yep. No doubt about it. Or you and just a mini Skrull just combined together.
A mini Skrull and a mini skirt.
Ooh. Hot?
Maybe?
Can a mini Skrull transform into a big person?
Wait, what do you mean?
Because when they transform, like Emilia Clarke at one point transforms into like an old man, which is taller than her. So,
good point.
That's interesting.
All good questions.
These are the last things we want answered. So sorry, go.
They have to be answered by the end of the series. The last thing I thought was interesting, and this is my only thing about the show, which is similar in a weird way to the Joker. Mm-hmm. When we got the Joker movie, it was like, it was amazing. That movie is fantastic.
Right.
But I'm like, who was asking for this? Like, I don't know if I need more from Nick Fury. And Drake, you were saying you want to see more emotional stakes. And I think we get that in episode 3 because we meet his wife.
Oh.
And she's a fantastic actress. She's a great character. But I'm like, I don't know if I want to see more of this from Nick Fury. How did you feel, Scott, about the surprise? He's got a wife and she's a Skrull.
I kind of like it. Like I like seeing more Nick Fury. So maybe in the same sense like, so while I'm watching the show, I'm also thinking Samuel Jackson as the actor. And I'm like, man, I like the way he delivers his lines. He's one of those actors who like delivers his lines his way, like an Al Pacino or Nick Cage or something. And some of these characters or some of these actors, eventually, like you start they start turning into like a caricature of themselves almost. And like Samuel Jackson still works. Like the way he's like, all right, like I could just picture him throwing in some motherfuckers in the middle of this thing. Like, all right, motherfucker, tell me what you want to do. Or like, and I'm like, it still works. Like, and I still enjoy that. And then seeing that side, like with his wife and everything, I think it was good because we always just see Nick Cage as like the dude that's like, he's either there and he's got the plan or he's just fucking gone and no one knows where he is. And I'm like, it's nice to know he has a life outside of this. And it's kind of cool to see a bit of it. So at least for me, I thought that was kind of cool. I'm like, okay, he actually has like, cause it always seems like he can trust no one and he's always off the grid and like he actually has someone. So I thought that was nice.
He has all that stuff.
He has a podcast for sure.
On Saber. The Saber Weekly.
Yeah.
The Saber Experience.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he needed it, but I like it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah, you're right. Like it is good. And he is one of those actors who could just deliver it his way and it always works. Like someone said it best. I mean, Frank said this to me earlier and I don't know if he came up with it, but we're getting very much like Samuel L. Jackson from Pulp Fiction. And like he has that Pulp Fiction. It's not like Nick Fury from the MCU really. It's like Nick Fury from Pulp Fiction and I'm here for it. I like it. Yeah. He's crushing it. Him and Ben Mendelsohn together. Him and the wife are awesome. Him and everybody really, but Ben Mendelsohn and everybody too. Just all around stellar cast. Any other final thoughts on Secret Invasion? Ooh, this is the last thing for me. Cool. I need to figure out why. I need to have this answered. Why didn't they find them a new home in 30 years? Like, they need to tell me why they weren't able to do that before the show ends. Otherwise, I'm going to be super irritated because at the end of Captain Marvel, Fury specifically says, like, me and Captain Marvel are going to find you guys a new home. And then she flies off with the Skrulls. And then it's 30 years later and they still haven't found them a home. And I know he blipped for 5 years and all that, but that still doesn't explain the 25 years he was around and didn't find them anything. Like, why?
I think inflation.
Man, there's probably a lot of like,
Obama.
Uninhabitable planets out there. And they're like, fuck, I thought this would be easier. It's like Earth and their planet right now. I don't know. Like, no, but it's true. Like she's flying around space. If anyone should have maybe gotten like some sort of hint or something on when they're gonna go, like she.
So maybe like a billion planets you couldn't find one.
Already.
Yeah.
Right. So, all right. Well, that's the only thing that's on my mind. Yeah. I don't know. Any other like final thoughts or closing statements about Secret Invasion?
I don't know necessarily about Secret Invasion, but it is parallel. So Kingsley Ben-Adir is closer to us than we even know because he was also in World War Z.
Oh, yeah?
He will be in Barbie, and he will also be playing Bob Marley in a biopic coming out in 2024.
Okay, I can't wait for that. But I saw a post of him in the Barbie font. You know how everybody had like the Barbie backgrounds and this Barbie is so-and-so. Yeah. Like, this Barbie's a doctor. And I saw one where it was like, this Ken is definitely a Skrull. It's like him in a polo with like thumbs up. And I can't wait for that. He's coming up. I love to see it. He's a great actor. Yeah. All right. Well, on that, thanks everybody for joining us. We are back with our new format, regular episodes every week. Again, follow us on the socials. We are new on Threads. It's going to be a time. If you've been looking for the anti-Elon Twitter, Threads is for you. We're going to be active on there. And if you can, watch this on YouTube. Go and subscribe. We'll be posting it also on the socials. It's Joy Schtick Show. And hit us up. All right. Any other final thoughts?
The best genist should be the spokesperson for Threads.
Mm-hmm. Go out there and rent Poker Face House and enjoy yourself. And I'll see you next week.
On that note,
watch Poker Face.
Thanks for sticking it with us. If you've enjoyed what you've been listening to, we'd really appreciate a follow, subscribe, and a review. Just how we like chatting with our friends, please share this with yours. Feel free to join the squad and follow us at JoyStickShow, Joy Schtick Show on Twitter and Instagram, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. And if you feel like submitting topics or questions to be discussed on future episodes, you can email us at joystick.show@gmail.com. As always, thank you, peace out, and make it a great rest of your week.